This has a 2017 5.3 liter engine with a Texas Speed Stage 2 cam, LT1 intake with a 90 mil throttle body off an LT1. 4 cooling fans, has dual spall fans controlled by a PWM variable speed controller I supplied. Trying to back into anything. This car runs really good with the 6L80. The rear end gear ratio is not the best. It has 308 gears in it. The 6L80 helps by having a 4-to-1 first gear. But going 50 miles an hour, it's not even in 6th gear yet. Get a lot of compliments on this car. It's really clean SS. Exhaust cutouts, so I'll open those up a little later and try those out when I'm away from all the homes here. But yeah, I'm cruising at 1500 RPM. It's running nice and smooth. It's a little bit of a different experience driving a car than a truck. The trucks are, I don't know, they weigh a bit more, maybe another 800,000 pounds. And that weight difference is big. And then, of course, you got the aerodynamics that help on the cars. But 5.3 makes a ton of power for this. Just give it a little gas and you go. I had an issue with this one. It's a 2017 computer, and I had a hard time tuning the cam in it. I got it to make power, but idle was the hard part. It just would surge a little bit by anywhere from 50 RPMs to 200, just depending on what mood it was in. And it's not an easy thing to fix on these Gen 5s because the logic doesn't really make sense. So I did a lot of trial and error before I fixed it. Now it's fine. Repaving the road or something. Try to go over here and open up the exhaust. It has just a switch to open up. That'll wake the neighbors. Alright, close the valves back. Things looking good. Checking out my GoPro, or GoPro knockoff, I should say. It always falls off from the mount, but it's still on. I'm trying to do more of these videos of me driving these Gen 5 swaps because there's just not a whole lot of Gen 5 swaps actually driving. I've been driving them for about a year and a half, 2 years now. So I've got a lot of experience making sure they run. But they are very sensitive. So on, let's say your air intake tube, if you use a 4-inch tube versus a 3.5-inch tube, that changes your airflow by maybe 20%, and if the airflow across that mass airflow sensor is off by 20%, it's pissed off. The car is not happy about it whatsoever. So on some stuff like that, I'm going to offer a package to do a mail order, and not really mail order. I'll send up my interface to you in my laptop, and I'll be able to remote into my own laptop, and I can check the swap, make sure it's tuned correctly. There's an issue where some of these idle at negative timing. My Tahoe would be almost negative 15 degrees of timing, and it sounded weird, and the engine is not happy. As soon as you give it gas, it goes up to 15 degrees of timing, so that's a big disparity. And it took me a while to fix it, because I thought it'd be something major, or I'm missing a module that was doing it. And you just got to nail these things on the calibrations and everything, and usually they'll be fine. And then the transmission on this, with the 308 gears, it was shifting way too early, even though the speedo is reading correctly. That's because of the 308 gear. I had to raise all the shift points to match it. It made a huge difference in drivability. When it shifts too early, it makes it lug around, and then you have a camshaft, so it makes a large camshaft aftermarket that makes a little less torque at cruise. So you need it to go a little higher than normal, and stock I should say, for it to shift correctly and feel correct. And this one has a 3000 stall in it, so there's some things you can do with the torque converter lockups that need to be done. So I do all that. But this is the last test drive where the customer gets it, and it's doing well. The builder of the car, Miguel, he's down. He's taking it back to his shop. He's been here while I tune it. But pretty happy with it. And on my truck, it has a 6L80 in it. And this weekend I picked up an 8-speed 8L90 two-wheel drive. So I want to swap that in. The only thing that kind of is tough is I got to change the entire wiring harness out, because 6-speed versus 8-speed harness is way different. So I'm going to get a brand new 8-speed harness, modify it again for my truck, and then I'll be able to swap it in. And actually I think we need to pull the engine out too, because the rear main seal is leaking. And what happens if these engines set for just a short period of time after they're removed, and that your engine never rotates, the crank shaft that rides on the seal, so your seal is spinning constantly, it will actually start rusting a little bit. So that's what one of the customers told me, the same issue. And after he did the swap, it was just leaking a little bit between the oil pan and transmission. So there's a little rust on that crankshaft. This messes up the seal, so he had to just take some emery cloth, polish the crank a little bit, and replace the seal. But the seal is way different than Gen 3s or Gen 4s. He says it actually balloons up a little bit off oil pressure, and it's, instead of being installed on the outside of the oil pan, it's installed on the inside of the rear cover, whatever we call it. Not the oil pan, but that rear cover. So you have to remove the entire cover to replace that seal. So I'm thinking we might as well remove the engine and then do the harness and transmission swap and fix the oil leak. So this leaks a little bit, but everywhere I go. Not enough to make a difference in oil level, but it's stained the driveway, which you don't want on a brand new engine or a new swap. So that's a lesson learned there. Well, the test drive went good. It's ready to go to the customer, and I hope you guys like this Impala SS. Thanks.